Hello friends, welcome to another segment of Golondrinas Live Sessions. I'm Laura Gonzalez, Director of Education and Volunteer Services here at Santa Fe's premier living history museum, elranchodelasgolondrinsa. We are located in the beautiful and historic La Cienega Valley. Today we're taking you all on a very special trip off-site to meet a very special friend of Las Golondrinas, Master Weaver, Mr. Bulmaro Perez Mendoza. Bulmaro Perez Mendoza comes from many generations of Zapotec weavers from the small town of Teotitlan del Valle in the state of Oaxaca, Mexico. He uses all natural dyes to weave masterful rugs, sometimes incorporating traditional Zapotec design, and at other times very modern and artistic motifs. Aurea Batista Lazo, wife of Bulmaro, was also born and raised in Teotitlan del Valle. Together, her and Bulmaro run an incredibly busy and thriving business, employing cousins, nieces, nephews, friends, and other relatives. Their sons Bulmaro Jr. and Diego are now walking in their parents' footsteps and helping weave and run the business in innumerable ways. On a side note, Aurea makes incredibly delicious and traditional Oaxacan foods, mole and tamales, and you'll see a little bit on that a little bit later on. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome and introduce to you Master Weaver, Mr. Bulmaro Perez Mendoza.
Okay, hi, my name is Bulmaro Perez Mendoza. I'm from Oaxaca, Mexico. We live in a small town. The name of the town is Teotitlan del Valle, about 30 minutes from Oaxaca City. So I'm a Zapotec weaver. All my family, 90% of people in our town, we are textile art. Yeah, so I'd like pretty much to talk a little about this process. The whole family, we do this process. Women and men help to do all the process. Like we use different kind of fibers. We use wool, we use silk, cotton, natural fibers. We use fiber that we get from cactus, from plants, and the whole process handmade. We hand wash fiber. We use basket, and then when we have opportunity to wash those fibers in a river, we like to wash them in a river to make that much more practical. After we wash the fiber, we do the next process that we call carda in Spanish, or in English, carding. We use these two carders, brushes that we use to carding the fiber, to prepare the fiber before we spun. We do hand spun too. So here I'd like to show you a little about how we do this process. It's all hand carding. Here I'm using a little alpaca. This alpaca, nice color. Here we have a nice brownish color alpaca. So the process is brushing the fiber this way. And this is a process that the women, they do in my family. We work with several women in the family, mother, aunt, wife, sister, and all the women, they do this job. The purpose here is to stretch the fiber, make all this fiber in one direction. Here I will turn at this. We have to turn the fiber both sides. When we get all fiber in one direction, we can use the fiber and then make very good quality yarn. So here we will take them off from those carders. From these two carders, we get two pieces of wool carded. And here I will separate this piece to use one piece to spun. Okay, so one from each side. So now to make base, here we need to do this by hand spun little. Okay, so now we need to put this base into the spindle here. Now to make the yarn, I will use this spinning wheel. And then we do this all by torsion and tension. So here you can see how we make all. We make torsion and tension. Here with the right hand, I turn this wheel with the right hand. With the left hand here, I just pull the fiber and then control tension. But here we need to have a very good control here on the left hand to make very uniform yarn. So now when we get enough yarn made, we put the yarn into that spindle and then we start again. We finish this piece now. When we finish one of this piece, to connect the new piece, we don't use to knot it. We don't like to use knot in our yarn, because if we use a knot in the yarn one day, if somebody buy the piece or using the rug, if they want to cut a knot, they can make a hole in the weaving. So here we do the connection all by the same torsion, without knot. So here we start again. A lot of people, they think that we do the torsion here with my fingers on the left hand. The torsion comes from that spindle. So this is the way that we make our yarn, and then from the spindle here we can prepare a bobbin of yarn. We can prepare about 150 grams to a quarter of kilo, have them in a bobbin. So after we get enough yarn, we take off this part, we remove the band here, and then we use this wheel to roll the yarn into the wheel to prepare the yarn and then make the yarn into skein. We call those pieces, that's to prepare the yarn for the next process to dye. So here I have some pieces of yarn, natural color. In alpaca, we have opportunity to get the most various natural color fiber. Here we have a white color. So this is 50% churro. We use churro wool too. We have the white, we have a medium gray, and here I have a dark gray. 3 colors undyed. So those are the base two that we use to dye the fiber. When we dye the yarn, if we want to make light colors, we have to use white wool. Medium dark color, we use medium gray. And for deep color or dark color, we use dark gray. To dye, we use all organic dyes using natural materials. One of the material that we use for a gold color or greenish gold color, we have some herbs here that we collected in our area in the raining season that we call pericon for gold color. And for blue dye, to make blue dye, we use this blue material that we have here, which is plant from a very famous plant that we call anil or indigo. Okay, I hear from many people that many years ago, they grow this plant in United States too, South Carolina. So they use indigo, many years ago they used indigo to dye the original blue jeans. So all the original blue jeans, they was dyed with indigo. We can make different shades of blue using indigo. So this material, it's one of the very interesting material for blue dye. The color, we need to prepare water, heat water, add indigo, and then we need to mix the indigo with ash. We need to use ash from cactus. The ash from cactus, it's alkaline, but that helps to give oxygen to indigo. So when we mix ash with indigo in the water, in the hot water, the water looks green, greenish gold. When we introduce the yarn into the dye, yarn looks greenish gold too. And then, depend how much time do we want to leave the yarn in the water, in the bath, we can get different shades of blue. When we pull out the yarn from the water, the colors start to get oxidized and color change from greenish gold go to green, green go to dark green go to teal, and teal go to blue. So the oxidize stop about 10 to 15 minutes. All depend how much time we leave the yarn in the water, okay? For blue dye, for red dye, we can get different shades of red, purple, magenta, orange, pink. We use a plant or cactus parasite that we produce in Oaxaca Valley. We call them cochinilla in Spanish. In English, they are cochineal. So we produce them from a cactus that we call Castilla cactus, nopal de Castilla. So we need to take care of them, keep them 3 months on the cactus, they grow this size. So the right one looks like seeds. And then to use cochineal, we have to grind it. Women in the family, they grind that by metate to get this red powder. This is cochineal ground. So now cochineal, we use cochineal to get different shades of red, orange, purple. Here I will make a sample on my hand. I put some ground cochineal on my hand, add some water. We will add a little water here into this cochineal. And then water with cochineal. First we do this carmine red, dark red. So now to change the pH, change color here, I will add acidic, lime juice. So now adding lime juice, we change the pH. From the dark red, we turn the color into orangey. As more acidic that we add, the color will be much more orangey. So now change another pH here. I will add limestone, which is alkaline. So here with the lime, first I will try to make a lila. Okay, lila here, the same lime but different percentage, and then we do purple. And purple this way I will try to make a fuchsia and make a maroon color this way. Almost brown. Those are the colors that we get from cochinilla. We can get many beautiful different shades of color using cochineal. So now after the dyes, after we made the colors, dyed the yarn, we use those colors to weave the textile. In my family, we are about 35 men that we do the textile. In our family, we have like a co-op family, everybody helps. Father, we work 3 generations now. My father, son, and me. We work with cousins, uncles, to help us to weave those beautiful textile and colorful colors that we get from those natural dyes. The design that we use in our textile, we still working with many of Zapotec traditional design. As we have here diamond that we call Ojo de Dios. It's an eye of God from Monte Alban. And then we have a Mitla design, which is another Zapotec site near to our village. So we have many Zapotec designs that we produce in our textile. And then we do something contemporary too. Several people in the family, we like to design and make a contemporary design like the next one that I have here. 1998, I made the first rug with this design that I call Montanitas y Lluvia, the little mountains and symbol of rain. My inspiration was on the highest place in the mountains. That is where the rain is more frequent. And then I call this piece Montanitas y Lluvia. We have here, we can see the little mountains in the weaving, and the next design symbol is the rain. And then those textiles, we weave them in a different size foot pedal loom. We start with about 10 centimeters with loom. We have half feet, 1 feet, 2 feet, 4 feet, 7 feet. The biggest rug that we make in our workshop, we have to loom 17 feet wide, where we can make a huge rug 17 by 20 feet, 25 feet, depend of our clients want the sizes. Okay, here, when we step on the pedals start to separate the warp. Here we pass the color here. The color here, some part of the warp comes up, the next part comes down. And then we pass this. So we push this with the comb. And now we change the side of the pedal here. So we pass this one more time. And then push this a little, make a little arch here. And one more time. So this is the process. We use this comb to tight the weft. So with this comb, we tight weft, and then the weaving, it's a flat weaving, very tight weaving. So we can use those textiles to use them as a rug on the floor, walk on them, and we can use them either side, both side or textile. They have the same quality on both sides, flat weaving. Easier to use, we can easy to clean too, we can vacuum them, we can wash them with any problem. Okay, so here now, after the whole process that we passed, after wash fiber, carding, spinning, dye, we use this kind of foot pedal loom to do the weavings. So we start with the different size of loom. We have loom about 10 centimeters width, which I mentioned, the biggest loom that we use in our workshop, we use 17 feet wide loom, where we can make a rug 17 by 20 feet, 25 feet. And then the loom that we use, we start to work in a small loom, 10 centimeters to 3 feet medium loom. We use 2 pedals to weave. Next size loom after 3 feet, it's a 4 feet wide loom. So there we need to use 4 pedals. 6 pedal, 8 pedals, 17 feet wide loom. We use 20 pedals to weave and the biggest loom. And a lot of people ask sometimes when they see too many pedals, they says that looks like a piano. How many people work in that big loom? We tell them 1 person. Because many of us will learn from the same master weaver, but each person will use a different technique to weave. It's like when people knit. Somebody can make a little tighter, a little looser. That can happen with the weaving too. So we prefer to take more time to make a rug, but finish the rug with very consistent quality. So the pedals work with those pieces that we call in Spanish malla, or in English they are harnessed. So each pedal works with a piece of harness, helps to separate those threads that we have vertically direction, the warp, and horizontally the color that we use horizontally it's weft. So here, if I'm steep on the right side pedal, part of those thread comes up, the next part comes down. When we change the foot to the left side, the other part comes down and the other part comes left. So then that helps us to make, and then we pass the shadow. we can use those shadows when we make like little simple design for stripes or another simple design. When we make something like a textile with more detail, we need to use many pieces of yarn. We weave that line by line or color by color. To weave a geometric design and a detailed design, we need to counting how many warp do we set up in the loom. After we counting how many warp do we have in that loom, we divide that, counting how many colors do we need to use in the new design that we want to make in a textile. Counting how many warp, how many thread for each space or for each color. The mathematics needs to be very precise, because if we take some thread on one side, start on the right side, take a couple more thread on this way, when we cross to the left, the design doesn't work, or left to right. So then that's the reason that each rug that we make, they are symmetrical. If we fold it on the length side, we have a center. If we fold it on the width side, we have a center. And another design that we can make a reproduction of some pictures or some painting. When we make that kind of design, we have to draw the design on a piece of paper first. And then when we have the design on a paper with a cartoon, we need to put the paper under the warp, underneath, under those threads here. And then use a small piece of indigo, which is the blue paste that we use to make blue dye. We traced all around of the design very fine pointing on the warp. So then the tracing, that helps us, that guides us like how to weave a curved line, to make a circle, to make a middle circle, but we take a lot care to make that kind of design the most fine that we can do in the weaving. Other people, they try to make this kind, other weavers, they try to make this kind of design, but they make them a little more pixelated. Ours, in our textile, we like to make them the most fine that we can make a curved line, and that makes the design much more interesting, much more finer. Yeah, so a piece of rug we can take between 2 weeks to more than 3 years to make a rug. It's all depend on the size and design. So we make some textile that take us more than 3 years. So if a person wants to order a rug, they need to wait 3 years to finish that textile. We'd like very much to invite everybody to join us in the places that we have opportunity, that people invite us to make some exhibitions and workshop in the States. And then we have an Instagram page too that people can, we invite them to follow us in the social media. Thank you.
Well, friends, we hope that you've enjoyed this extra special segment of Golondrinas Live Sessions. We hope that you've enjoyed meeting and learning from friend of Las Golondrinas and master weaver, Mr. Bulmaro Perez Mendoza, and learning all about the beautiful and historic weaving traditions of Oaxaca, Mexico. We hope that you join us this weekend for number 25 of 50 events, Viva Mexico, in celebration of our 50th season here at El Rancho de las Golondrinas. That'll be Saturday and Sunday, July 16th and 17th, starting at 10 a.m., ending at 4 p.m. Tickets are available online through Hold My Ticket, and you can get those directly through our website at golondrinas.org. Be sure also to follow us on our social media, on Facebook and Instagram, both at SF Golondrinas. And we'll see you this weekend, hopefully, at Viva Mexico. We'll see you out here at the museum, or we'll see you at our next segment of Golondrinas Live Sessions. For now, friends, thank you again so much for joining us, and make sure to start your adventure at golondrinas.org.